what's India's concerns about the tax deal, and to what extent have these been resolved? I know you had spoken about this two-pillar solution, and some time back you had said that we were very close. So if you could just update us on what's happening on that.
Well, we've agreed on the global minimum tax, and the concerns till before we agreed were on what is going to be the portion of apportionment of the profit which will be taxed, whether it is 25, 26, 27 or nearer 30. We had asked for a nearer 30 rate, and as it is, having agreed to not having, let us say, the first 10% of profit, and it is only after that, whatever profit accrues, we are asking for a share of 25 to 30%. And therefore, we thought, having conceded the first 10% without any claim on that, it is only fair to ask for something closer to 30. I think quite some negotiations happened, not so much just with us, but with very many other countries as well. If I do remember correct, South Africa, Turkey, France, and some two more countries also had similar concerns. But eventually I think all of us agreed so that there's at least one agreement, quite a long time after the world has desired, that some minimum be fixed so that the race to the bottom be stopped. So therefore we agreed on 25. That was one of the concerns we had till before agreeing.
You had the equalization tax. So how different will it be now when it comes to revenue for India?
Well, the equalization levy will now, after, if I understand correct, once the global minimum tax gets effective, well, 2023, I think. First of all parliaments will have to agree, and then ratification will have to happen. And post the ratification is when it's going to have to be implemented. And post the ratification, when it gets implemented, the equalization levy or any such which countries have levied for themselves in their own territories will all have to be withdrawn. So equalization levy is something which we brought in at a stage where we thought the world has not yet arrived at some taxation of sorts. And also for those who are present in Indian tax jurisdiction within India, there's no levy levied. It is only for those who are operating in India but who have no registered presence in India, equalization is being levied. And naturally, after all of us have agreed on a global minimum tax, that will have to be withdrawn.
Understood. Since we're talking about tax, I just want to know that India dropped the retrospective tax. So has the matter finally been fully resolved with Cain and Vodafone?
Well, I would think that India's position on this tax has now got the parliamentary approval. The withdrawal is not just a government activity, but it is also approved by the parliament because it has fiscal implications, and it has a position on taxation, and therefore it was necessary for us to go to the parliament and explain ourselves. And the terms and conditions have also been fairly clearly wired into the act itself. However, post the act getting passed, we have also put out the regulations and rules which govern what we call a subordinate legislation, which govern the act, which comes out of the agreed act, to which all these parties who are party to this retrospective taxation will have to sign up. And I understand most of the talking has happened. I've been away for a whole week, but given that margin, the talks have happened. I think they should come to a logical end.
So, these are just two companies. And do you think that has any ramifications or more investments coming into India?
Well, I think the first thing is about the narrative about India. It was seen as a country which took a very regressive step in having brought in the retrospective taxation. We've never been, as a party, the Bharatiya Janata Party has never been in favor of it, even when we were in the opposition. But after coming to power, we couldn't do it immediately, because by which time all these court cases had commenced, arbitrations had started, and we made it clear that whilst we are not in favor of a retrospective taxation, we couldn't amend it or we couldn't do the correction because we had to wait for the logical conclusions to be reached. And once by the end of 2020, when all these arbitrations came to some kind of an end, we went to the Parliament at the earliest and got it cleared. So the perspective about India's taxation regime being regressive is something which we were opposed to, and I'm glad we have, under Prime Minister's bold decision making, we have removed it.
So you think now it looks more progressive and you think we'll be able to attract more investments?
Not just appear progressive, but it gives a certain certainty to businesses that nothing will come back to them after years of having done their businesses in a particular framework, for something which is very intrinsic to businesses, to understand how much of their profit will have to be paid as tax, be challenged because of an action which comes very much later, but affecting them even in their past years of business. So that element of uncertainty is what we have removed, and by removing, implicitly therefore have committed to bringing tax certainty.